The rain fell heavily on the small village of Oberland, the kind of rain that made even the strongest roofs shake. Thunder rolled across the sky and the wind whistled through the palm trees. Inside a small mud hut at the edge of the village, Mama Folake lay in pain, her face wet with sweat and tears. Her husband, Baba Kunnel, held her hand tightly, whispering prayers under his breath. Outside, neighbors gathered, worried but hopeful. Then through the storm's roar, the cry of a newborn baby filled the air, and another followed seconds later. The midwife, Mama Chica, looked at the couple with wide eyes. "Twins!" she exclaimed in amazement. Everyone cheered, for twins were seen as a rare blessing from the ancestors. But before the joy could settle, Mama Chica gasped and pointed to the ground. Beside each baby lay something glowing faintly, 2 golden bananas, shining softly in the dim lantern light. The air grew still. The storm outside began to calm as if nature itself wanted to listen. Mama Folake's eyes widened. Bananas? Where did they come from? Mama Chica bent closer, trembling slightly. They came from nowhere, she whispered. They appeared as the babies were born. Soon word spread through the entire village. The elder, Baba Ojo, was called from his hut. He was old, his back bent from age, but his eyes still sharp like an eagle's. When he entered the hut and saw the babies with the glowing bananas, he fell silent for a long moment. Then he smiled faintly and said, "These are no ordinary children. The spirits have touched them." The villagers gasped, some bowing their heads in respect. Baba Ojo continued, "The boy shall be called Tund, for his spirit has returned from the ancestors. The girl shall be called Tola, for she will bring joy and light to the people." He picked up the golden bananas carefully and wrapped them in clean white cloth. "Keep these close to the children," he warned. "Never throw them away, never hide them. Their spirits are tied to these gifts. If they are lost, the balance will break." That night, the rain stopped and a calm breeze swept through the village. The moon came out from behind the clouds, shining brighter than ever before. Even the elders said they had never seen such a moon. Days turned into weeks and the twins grew quickly. They were healthy, cheerful babies who laughed often and cried rarely. But something strange and beautiful began to happen around them. When Tund giggled, flowers bloomed nearby. When Tola clapped her small hands, sick animals began to rise and eat again. The villagers watched in awe. Mama Folake was both proud and afraid. She whispered to her husband one evening, "What if their gift brings danger?" Baba Kunnel sighed. "Then we will protect them no matter what." The villagers soon started to visit their hut daily. Some came to see the glowing bananas, which still shone softly even after months. Others came to ask for blessings. "Let Tund touch my baby," one mother begged. "My child has been sick for days." When Tund touched the baby's forehead, the child stopped crying and smiled. The woman fell to her knees, thanking the spirits. Word spread far and wide that the twins of Oberland carried divine power. However, not everyone was happy. A few people began to whisper behind closed doors. "Such children can't be normal," one man said. "Maybe their power will bring trouble." But whenever fear grew, the elder, Baba Ojo, would remind them, "The spirits never give gifts without reason. If you treat the blessed with kindness, blessings will remain. If you show envy, curses may follow." So the village chose to love the twins. During every festival, they were given the first share of food. Women brought them small gifts, shells, flowers, and beads, and men offered them stories of the old days. The twins were loved deeply. When the twins turned 5, something even more mysterious happened. One afternoon, as they played near the river, a strong wind blew. The golden bananas, which Mama Folake always kept wrapped safely, began to glow brighter than ever. A faint humming sound filled the air. The children stood still, holding hands. The river, which had been calm, began to sparkle as if 1,000 tiny lights danced on its surface. Then, for just a moment, the twins saw a tall figure standing across the river, covered in white cloth, shining like the moon. It raised its hand and whispered in a voice only they could hear, "Use your gift for love, not pride. The land's peace depends on your hearts." And just as quickly the figure vanished. The children ran home and told their mother what they saw. Mama Folake held them tightly, her heart trembling. She told Baba Kunnel, and together they went to the elder. Baba Ojo listened quietly, then nodded. "The spirits have spoken," he said. "Your children are keepers of balance. As long as they live in harmony, Oberland will know peace." Years passed and the village flourished. The soil became rich, crops grew abundantly, and even the sickly cattle became strong again. People from nearby towns visited to see the miracle twins. Traders brought gifts, baskets of fruits, fabrics, and gold, But the family never asked for riches. They lived simply, grateful for peace. Still, sometimes late at night, Mama Folake would hear whispers outside her hut, voices of travelers praying or singing songs of thanks near her window. She never chased them away. She knew that the world saw her children as a light in the darkness. And so, Tund and Tola grew up loved, watched over, and guided by both humans and spirits. But deep down, the villagers all wondered, what would happen if the golden bananas ever lost their glow? For though the blessings of the spirits were bright, everyone knew that in every light, there is also a shadow waiting to rise. That thought remained quietly in their hearts as the twins continued to play under the warm sun, their laughter echoing across the fields, a sound that carried both joy and mystery through every corner of Abeland. The years moved gently in Abeland, like the slow rhythm of a drum. The twins, Tund and Tola, grew into bright and kind-hearted children. Wherever they went, laughter followed. They were respectful to their elders, loved helping others, and never allowed pride to take root in their hearts. The villagers adored them, calling them the children of light. Every morning they greeted the sun with a short prayer, and Mama Folake would unwrap the golden bananas from the white cloth, placing them beside the window where the light could touch them. Their soft glow filled the small hut with warmth. But soon people began to notice something unusual. Whenever one of the twins got sick, even from a small cold, the bananas lost their glow. The golden shine would fade, turning pale and dull like old brass. Then when the child recovered, the glow returned, brighter than before. The villagers were amazed. They whispered, "The bananas live with their spirits. When they suffer, the light weakens." One morning Tola fell ill with a fever. Her skin burned and she could not eat. Mama Folake sat beside her all night, fanning her gently. The banana beside her bed had turned almost gray. The villagers gathered outside, worried. Tund refused to leave his sister's side. He held her hand and whispered stories to her. When dawn came, a gentle wind entered through the window. The banana flickered softly, then began to glow again, bright and golden. Tola opened her eyes and smiled weakly. "Brother," she said, "the spirits heard you." That moment made the villagers love them even more, but it also deepened their curiosity. Everyone wanted to understand the power of the golden bananas. Not far from the village lived a man named Baba Dairan, a trader known for his greed. He had heard the stories about the twins and their glowing bananas. He did not believe in spirits. To him, it was all a tale to hide something valuable. If those bananas shine, he thought, they must be made of gold. If I get them, I'll be rich forever. One moonless night, Baba Dairan crept toward the twins' hut. The air was silent except for the sound of crickets. Inside the family was asleep. He moved quietly, his heart beating fast. The bananas lay wrapped in the white cloth near the window, glowing faintly in the dark. He reached out slowly, his hands trembling with greed. But the moment his fingers touched the cloth, a sharp pain shot through him. He screamed as his hands began to burn with a light brighter than fire. He stumbled backward, shouting in terror. "Fire! Fire from heaven!" he cried, running out into the night. The noise woke everyone. The villagers rushed out, carrying torches. They found Baba Dairan rolling on the ground, his hands covered in blisters. He cried and shouted, "The spirits! The spirits guard them. Forgive me." Baba Ojo, the village elder, came forward and looked at him sadly. "You have touched what is sacred," he said. "Let this be a lesson to all. Greed cannot touch purity." From that night, no one dared to go near the bananas without respect. The people bowed their heads whenever they passed the twins, whispering prayers of thanks. But Mama Folake's heart was troubled. She had seen how powerful the bananas were, how they could glow, heal, and punish. One evening she went to the elder's hut to seek answers. "Baba Ojo," she said quietly, "what do these bananas truly mean? My children are good and gentle, but their gift is too great for their age. I fear what may come." The elder looked into the fire for a long time before speaking. "Mama Folake," he said softly, "the spirits choose where they will dwell. These children were born in a time when the land was dry and people had forgotten kindness. They were sent to bring balance, light to heal what fear has broken." He paused and smiled faintly. "But remember, light cannot live without love. As long as they are cared for with love, their gift will bring peace. But if love turns to pride or hatred, the same light that blesses will burn." Mama Folake nodded slowly. "I understand," she said. "I will raise them with humility." That night, she told her children what the elder had said. Tund listened quietly, his young face thoughtful. "Mama," he said, "we will never let pride enter our hearts. We only want to help people. Tola smiled beside him. The spirits gave us light so we can share it. We will use it for good. Mama Folake hugged them both tightly, tears shining in her eyes. Then you will never lose your way, she whispered. Outside, the moon began to rise. The villagers were still awake, talking about the strange things that had happened. Some were afraid, others grateful. A few knelt before their doors, praying that the children's light would continue to protect them. Then, something extraordinary happened. The bananas began to glow again, brighter than anyone had ever seen before. The light shone through the hut's small window and spread across the village like a golden wave. Children woke up and laughed in their sleep. The sick found peace and the tired felt new strength. Even the trees seemed to shimmer under the strange golden light. Baba Ojo stepped outside and looked toward the twins' home. He smiled and whispered, "The spirits are pleased." From that night onward, the people of Abaland grew more united. They shared food, helped one another, and treated the twins with honor. The golden glow became a symbol of peace, a reminder that blessings thrive only where love and kindness live. But deep within the forest, Baba Dairan's cries still echoed in the wind, a warning to anyone who thought of touching what the spirits had blessed. And as the moon rose higher, Tund and Tola slept peacefully in their small hut, the golden light of their bananas shining softly beside them, a gentle promise that as long as they loved and cared, their light would never fade. The village slept under that calm, warm glow, unaware that this peace, though beautiful, would one day be tested by fear and envy once again. The dry season came early that year and it came hard. At first, the people of Abaland thought it was just a passing drought. But days turned into weeks and the sky refused to open. The once green farms turned brown. The streams that used to sing through the village became lines of dust. Even the great river that fed Abaland's fields was now only cracked earth. Cows grew thin, children cried from hunger, and mothers prayed day and night for rain. The air was heavy with sadness and fear. At first, the villagers tried to stay hopeful. They went to the shrine, bringing yams, fruits, and even chickens as offerings. Baba Ojo the elder led them in prayer. "Great spirits," he cried, "have mercy on your children." But the sky stayed silent. Then one morning a rumor began to spread like wildfire. A young man shouted near the marketplace, "Ever since those twins were born, strange things have happened. Maybe their light has turned against us." Others joined him, their voices filled with fear. Yes, when they were small the land was blessed. But now the blessing has changed to a curse. Mama Folake heard the whispers while she fetched water. Her hands trembled. "No," she said softly. "My children have never harmed anyone." But people looked away. Some no longer greeted her. Some even refused to sell her food. At night, Tund and Tola sat by the dim glow of their golden bananas. The light still shone gently, but even it seemed weaker than before. Tola's eyes filled with tears. "Brother," she said, "why do they hate us? We never hurt anyone." Tund put an arm around her shoulders. "Fear makes people forget," he said quietly. "They are afraid, and when people are afraid they look for someone to blame." The next day a group of angry men gathered outside their hut. They shouted, "Send them away before the land dies completely." One man threw a stone that hit the door. Mama Folake came out trembling. "Please," she begged, "these are only children." But the crowd was restless. "If they stay," one woman shouted, "we will all die." Baba Ojo came running and stood between the crowd and the hut. "Enough," he thundered. "You forget who these children are. They brought us blessings for many years. Do not let fear make you blind." But even his words could not stop their anger. People were desperate. Hunger had clouded their hearts. That night, as the village slept in uneasy silence, Tund sat awake beside the window. He could hear the wind whispering through the dry trees. He turned to his sister. "Maybe we must go," he said quietly. "Maybe if we leave they will find peace again." Tola shook her head, tears rolling down her cheeks. "But Mama, she will be alone." Tund took her hand gently. "She will understand. The elder will take care of her. We must do this, Tola. The spirits will guide us." Before dawn they packed a small cloth bundle. Inside it they placed their glowing bananas, still wrapped in the white fabric that had been with them since birth. They kissed their mother while she slept and whispered, "We love you." Then without making a sound they stepped out into the cool, dry night. The village was quiet. The moon hung low in the sky, pale and tired. They walked past the farms where they used to play, past the big baobab tree where children once laughed. Everything was silent now, even the birds had left. As they reached the edge of the forest, Tola looked back one last time. The huts of Abeland were dark and still. "Goodbye," she whispered. "May peace return to you." Then hand in hand the twins entered the forest. The deeper they went, the darker it became. The trees grew tall and close, blocking the moonlight. Strange sounds filled the air, the cry of owls, the rustle of dry leaves. But the light from their golden bananas guided their way. It glowed softly, like two stars floating in the dark. They walked for hours. Sometimes they stumbled over roots or stones, but they never stopped. "We must keep going," Tun said. "The spirits will show us where to rest." Finally, they found a small clearing near a quiet stream that still had a little water. They sat down, tired and hungry. The bananas glowed faintly beside them, casting a warm light over their faces. Tola rested her head on her brother's shoulder. "Do you think the spirits are angry with us?" she asked softly. Tun looked up at the stars. "No," he said. "I think they are testing our hearts. Maybe we must learn something, or help someone else." The forest was calm. Fireflies danced in the air. It almost felt peaceful. But deep inside, the twins felt lonely. They missed their mother, their home, and the laughter of the village. Back in Abeland, Mama Folake woke to find the hut empty. Their beds were neatly made. The white cloth that once held the bananas was gone. She ran outside, calling their names, but there was no answer. When she saw their footprints leading toward the forest, she fell to her knees and wept. The villagers soon heard the news. Some felt guilty. Others said coldly, "Maybe now the rains will come." But Baba Ojo only shook his head sadly. "You have made a great mistake," he said. "The land will not heal through fear." Days passed and the drought grew worse. The sun burned hotter and the wind carried dust through the empty fields. Still no rain came. Meanwhile, in the forest, the twins built a small shelter from branches and leaves. They drank from the stream and ate wild fruits. They prayed every night, asking the spirits to forgive the people who had turned against them. One night as they slept, a soft voice echoed through the trees, calm and gentle like the wind. "Children of light," it said, "do not fear. Your path is not ending here. The land suffers because kindness has faded. You must bring it back." Tund woke and looked around but saw no one. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. Tola nodded slowly. Yes, it was the spirits. They looked at their glowing bananas. The light had grown stronger again, brighter than before. The forest around them shimmered softly, and for the first time in many months, the air smelled fresh and alive. The next morning, clouds began to gather above the forest. A cool wind blew through the trees. The twins stood hand in hand and smiled. They didn't know it yet, but the spirits had already begun to answer their prayer, not just for the land but for the hearts of the people of Abeland. Far away in the village, a soft rumble of thunder echoed across the sky. The people looked up in shock as the first drops of rain began to fall. Mama Folake lifted her face to the sky and whispered, "My children, wherever you are, may the spirits keep you safe." And deep in the forest, the twins smiled through their tears as the rain finally began to fall upon the earth. The forest was wide and wild, full of sounds that made the night seem alive. The croak of frogs, the whisper of wind through leaves, and the soft hum of insects calling to each other. For days, Tund and Tola wandered deeper, guided only by the faint glow of their golden bananas. They had little food left, but they did not give up. Something inside them told them that the spirits had not abandoned them. One evening, after walking for hours, they came upon a strange sight. In the middle of the forest was a river unlike any they had ever seen. It was clear and shining as if made of silver. The moonlight danced on its surface, and the air around it felt cool and calm. Beside the river sat an old woman with white hair that glowed faintly in the moonlight. Tund stopped and whispered, "Do you see her?" Tola nodded slowly. "Yes, she looks like she has been waiting for us." The old woman smiled gently as they approached. "Welcome, children of light," she said. Her voice was soft but strong, like a song carried by the wind. "I have waited for you." Tund bowed slightly, confused. "Waited for us? Who are you, Mama?" The woman chuckled quietly. "Some call me Mama Nina, the keeper of the river. I serve the spirits of the land." Her eyes sparkled kindly. "And you, my children, carry their gift, the golden bananas of life." Tola held hers close, the soft light warming her hands. "People feared us," she said sadly. "They said we brought a curse." Mama Nina shook her head slowly. "Fear blinds the heart. The spirits gave you this gift to heal the land, not to hide from it. The rain stopped because people forgot kindness. But you did not forget. Your heart stayed pure." She picked up a small calabash and dipped it into the shining river. The water sparkled like stars. When the moon becomes full again, she said, handing it to them, take this water and pour it gently over your golden bananas. Then pray for the land. The rain will return and all that was dying will live again. The twins listened carefully, their hearts full of hope. Thank you, Mama, they said together. Mama Nina smiled. Do not thank me. Thank the spirits who sent you. She stood slowly, her white cloth fluttering like mist. Stay by this river until the moon is full. The water will feed you and the spirits will guard your dreams. Then, as the wind blew softly through the trees, she faded into the light, disappearing like a shadow melting into dawn. The twins stood still, amazed. For a long time they said nothing. Finally, Tund whispered, she was not just an old woman. Tola nodded. She was a messenger of the spirits. They built a small shelter beside the river and waited. Each day they gathered fruits, drank the cool water, and watched the moon grow rounder. They sang softly to the spirits, their voices blending with the hum of the forest. As days passed, they noticed something strange. Wherever they stepped, small green shoots began to rise from the dry earth. The forest seemed to grow brighter, more alive. Birds returned, and even the air smelled fresh again. On the seventh night, the moon rose full and bright above the treetops. Its light spread across the water, making it glow like a silver path. The twins took the calabash and filled it with the shining river water, just as Mama Nina had shown them. They placed their golden bananas before them on a flat rock. Are you ready? Tund asked softly. Tola nodded. Yes. For our home, for Mama, and for the people, even those who feared us. Together, they lifted the calabash and slowly poured the water over the bananas. The moment the water touched them, a light brighter than fire burst out, filling the forest. The trees swayed, the earth trembled gently, and a warm wind swept across the land. Then in the distance, thunder rolled, soft at first, then louder. The sky, which had been dry for months, began to darken with clouds. A cool drop of water fell on Tola's hand. Then another. And another. It's raining, she cried, laughing through her tears. The rain came down stronger, washing over their faces and the earth around them. The river swelled with joy and the ground drank deeply. The golden bananas glowed even brighter, their light dancing like stars in the rain. Tund looked up, smiling. The spirits kept their promise. For hours, the rain poured, soaking the forest and filling the air with the smell of life. The twins danced barefoot under the downpour, laughing freely, their hearts full of peace. Far away in Abeland, the people woke to the sound of rain on their rooftops. They rushed outside, crying and cheering. The rains have returned, they shouted. Mama Folake stood in the middle of the village, tears streaming down her face as she lifted her hands to the sky. My children, she whispered, you have saved us. The rivers began to flow again. The brown fields turned green. The cows grew strong and the children laughed as they played in puddles. Life had returned to the land. Deep in the forest, the twins sat by the glowing river, watching the sky clear after the storm. The moon was still full and the stars sparkled like tiny fires. Tola leaned against her brother's shoulder. Do you think the people will remember? She asked. Tund smiled softly. Maybe not all. But the land will. The spirits will. And that is enough. The next morning the air was fresh and cool. The forest shimmered with new life. The twins looked at each other and without speaking they both knew it was time to go home. They picked up their glowing bananas, now brighter and lighter than ever, and began walking toward the rising sun. Birds followed them through the trees, singing songs of renewal. And as they walked, the forest whispered their names, Tund, Tola, carrying their story back to the village that once feared them but would soon welcome them home. Morning broke gently over the hills of Abeland. The rain had washed everything clean. The trees glistened, the air smelled sweet, and the rivers that once lay dry now sang as they flowed again. The villagers came out from their huts, faces lifted toward the bright sky. For the first time in many months, there was hope in their hearts. As they looked toward the forest, someone shouted, Look! Look there! Through the mist came two familiar figures, a boy and a girl walking side by side. Their clothes were wet, their feet bare, but their smiles shone brighter than the morning sun. In their hands they carried the golden bananas, glowing softly as if the light of the heavens lived within them. The people gasped. It's the twins, the children of light. Mama Folake ran forward before anyone else. Her wrapper was soaked, but she didn't care. She threw her arms around them, crying with joy. My babies, you came back. Oh, the spirits be praised. Tund held her tightly. We missed you, Mama, he whispered. The villagers gathered around, shame and wonder mixed in their eyes. The elder, Baba Ojo, stepped forward, leaning on his walking stick. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Children, we were blind. We let fear lead us instead of faith. The spirits sent you to save us and we doubted you. Forgive us." The twins looked at each other. Then Tola smiled gently and said, "We forgive you. But remember, blessings should never be feared. What the spirits give is meant to bring love, not worry." Baba Ojo bowed his head deeply. "Your hearts are pure," he said. "Because of you our land lives again." The villagers began to cheer. Some cried, others knelt on the ground, thanking the heavens. The sound of joy filled the air, echoing across the fields. Even the birds seemed to sing louder that morning. Mama Folake led her children back home, but the home felt different now, not because of its walls but because peace had returned. The people of Abaland decided that the golden bananas should be kept where everyone could honor them. Together they built a small shrine in the center of the village, a simple hut made of smooth stones and palm leaves. When it was finished, the twins placed the glowing bananas inside. The moment they did, a soft wind blew through the village, and the light spread across the fields once more. The crops that had been weak stood tall. The wells filled with clear water. The air carried a calm warmth that made everyone smile. From that day the bananas became symbols of peace and unity. Every new season the people gathered at the shrine to give thanks. They placed fruits, flowers and bowls of water before the sacred glow, singing songs to remember the twins who had saved them. Years passed and Tund and Tola grew older. They learned from the elder, studied the healing herbs of the forest, and became known as wise healers. Whenever someone was sick or troubled, they would visit the twins' home, and the two would sit with them patiently, listening and comforting. They never used their power for pride or fame, only for kindness. Their gentle ways made everyone love them even more. The children of the village followed them around, calling them Brother Sun and Sister Moon, because Tund's laughter was bright like daylight, and Tola's voice was soft and calm like night. One evening many years later, Tund and Tola sat by the riverside, the same river where they had once met Mama Nina. The moon shone high above, and the bananas still glowed faintly inside the shrine back home. Tola looked at her brother and said quietly, "Do you think the spirits will ever send others like us?" Tund smiled. "Maybe not like us, but they will send hearts that love as we did. That is how blessings are born." They watched the moonlight dance on the water in silence for a long time. The world felt peaceful and the air was full of life. Back in the village, the people still spoke of the twins, not as gods or legends, but as children of kindness who taught them to love again. Parents told their children, "Be kind and the spirits will walk with you," just as they walked with Tund and Tola. As the seasons changed, the rains always came on time. The harvest was always full. No one went hungry and no one was left alone. The golden bananas never lost their glow. And so, the story of the twins became more than a tale, it became a part of the land itself. The people of Abaland passed it down from one generation to another, each time with the same ending. That true blessings are not born from riches or power, but from love, faith and hearts that do not give up. Just like Tund and Tola, the twins born with spiritual bananas, the children who brought life, rain and peace to their people.